There's no substitute for hard work, creative solutions, and a team that works together and stays together day to day and argues and debates and figures it out so you can move fast.
It's Car Wash Exchange from ICA, delivering expert advice, business strategies, tech trends, and insights from the car wash industry.
Rapid growth doesn't happen by accident. It happens years before the headlines. On this episode of Car Wash Exchange, ICA's editor-in-chief Rich DiPaolo sits down with Dan Pittman to unpack how the company grew to more than 100 locations by focusing on culture, systems, data, and disciplined acquisitions. If you're interested in scaling your operation without losing what made it successful in the first place, this conversation has tons of practical insights.
I'm not surprised we're talking a lot about culture, Dan, here today. I don't know if you caught my interview last year with Summit's president and chief operating officer, Kevin Matthews.
Yeah.
When I interviewed him for a podcast, we talked a lot about culture, and Kevin mentioned that Summit rests on the pillars of the 3 Ps, the people, the process, and the purpose. So, just, to reiterate and double down on this idea of culture, how central is culture to your growth strategy? And how do you maintain that people first mindset when you're onboarding hundreds of employees at speed like this?
Yeah, great question. Thanks, Rich. Well, I think first of all, I think Kevin did a really good job in the interview explaining it. You quoted me in the article that we're kind of reviewing here that it can be very complex. Like the word culture is a fuzzy word, right? They can say, hey, we've got great culture. Nobody knows what that means. So we try to define our culture very, very simply with a handful of things. Humble, hungry, smart, which you've heard me talk about before. It's very simple. If you have those things, you'll be a good team member. There's lots of research around that. We add fun to that. So I would say it's paramount. The entire executive team has a desire. It wasn't just Dan talking. We have a desire to create a great place to work, to take care of our employees, to be an example of a great place to work. So I would say it's imperative if you're going to move fast, which we move fast. If you're going to be flexible, we already talked about that. If you're going to win some, lose some, and still just keep on chugging, because no organization is perfect, I think that gives you an enormous amount of resiliency. So we are all completely bought into that. How we scaled it, I have to give some credit. You mentioned Kevin and Hoff in our training group, and then we have a host of folks in the operational group that just really want to support bringing people to the family and getting them up to speed on how it can be a great career, how we can take care of them, how they can take care of the consumer. So we have very, very detailed tracks of training for people to where they can not just have a job, but they can actually be engaged in a very engaging way. And they know what winning means. I mentioned that data lake and all the operational data that's in there. I think we probably track and measure more than anybody in the space to every position at a car wash. And the reason we do it is much, much, much more carrot than stick. It's much, much more about giving our opportunities for employees to be gamified, to compete, to get bonus opportunities, to get a pat on the back, to get coaching opportunities for a better career. And linking it back to the New Jersey discussion, Rich, I would say that even in New Jersey, they amplified it even more to do some training and do some coaching, where the training group was even doing a lot of the stuff that, because we took on so many sites at once, and we had some new managers, while they could get up to speed on how to coach, that training group was also getting directly involved with some of the other people out in the field on how to bring people up to speed and how to coach GMs and employees to do a great job. So that culture scaling at New Jersey actually took another step up. So I got to give kudos to that group. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, sounds like leadership by example. It's something that spreads across the organization. So certainly something that's important. And, in addition to culture and patience, Dan, one of the other things I read in between the lines of one of Kevin Matthews, the aforementioned Kevin Matthews quotes here, was this, having to make tough choices. Kevin made the point that discipline in what you don't do matters as much as what you do. So can you walk us through what a site looks like that maybe Summit walks away from, and how hard is it to pass on a site or a set of sites when you're in such aggressive growth mode?
Great question. First of all, some sites are really easy to pass on, and anybody watching this that's in the industry knows what I mean. So I don't even explain the ones that are easy to pass on. There's ones that are in the middle ground. They'll take you back to the data lake now. We've learned a lot. A lot of times we're in discussions and we need to make decisions about sites. We try to find what sites they're like. So we've grown enough. We have a library of, we can look at a traffic pattern. We can look at the layout, and we can understand what it's similar to, what it could be like, and then the data we have, again, I'll mention the systems again, the data we have allows us to figure out, hey, is that a winning combination for us the last time we did one like that? So we actually have a little bit of history that's helped us quite a bit. The other thing is we've gotten a very advanced underwriting system because we've had to look at so many different types of sites. It's pretty well honed from the investment side and also what it could be and predicting its future. So I'd say a lot of times it comes down to debate where it's close, it's on the line. And so I would say a really good underwriting process and really understanding of what sites like that have done in our world, because they're coming into our world. So we need to understand what they'll work like in our world. So using our history, using our templates from the past, using our underwriting methodology, and then having really good debate with really smart people. So I mean, Jason probably knows more about the consumer than about anybody in the industry. You mentioned Kevin operating. Reed knows the market because he has relationships with the people. Ray has figured out how to have this flexible dev team. We have a CFO that's really, really wants to understand how the site can succeed and what he needs to do and his team needs to do. And our IT group is incredible from the ability to deal with any POS system, get everything in the data lake, et cetera, et cetera. So we've got this team of people that kind of all contributes, all jumps in to make the decision, to have the debate, and we feel really, really good about applying our learnings in those situations.
Yeah, and so it definitely came across in the article, Dan. The leadership at Summit, has long histories and early beginnings in this industry, and that certainly helps. The trend now for a lot of growing chains such as Summit is to be deliberate and strategic with the growth strategy. And I know Summit has a few brands that have a long-standing relationship with the Northeast. Will New Jersey continue to be a focus for Summit here moving forward? Are you looking at other states, or is it going to be?
Absolutely. Okay. I mean, we think we're doing business. We think we're finding consumers that like our product in great patches around the country, and we are very excited. The performance has been good. It's a little bit. Some days you mentioned, the 12 to 18 months permitting, and the blood, sweat, and tears, kind of a blue collar stick-to-itiveness that's really made the team successful there. But yeah, we like the space, and we continue to expand our brand and find where there's more consumers that want what we do, and we think there's space for that in New Jersey for sure, as well as the other areas we exist right now too. But yeah, we're keeping our eyes open for opportunities and to continue to cultivate relationships, because a lot of that started with that, with Reed just spending time with people.
That's awesome. Yeah, and we'll continue to track your progress on carwash.org for sure. So just one more question, Dan, and we'll get you out of here. Hindsight's always 20/20. I don't need to tell you that. So what did the growth pace in New Jersey reveal about Summit as an organization? And would you do anything differently if you were to start that run over again in the state?
Well, a couple things. First of all, the one thing that we learned is it's exhausting. I have a pretty young team. I think I'm the senior statesman, and we wore ourselves out in a good way. It's kind of like we'll go back to the sports analogies, to the baseball, switch to the basketball. We feel like so far we've left it on the court running hard, but with great wins. The hard-fought basketball game is enjoyable if you're winning. So I would say it is exhausting, and I think we are surprised how much energy that it took, but it's actually energized and encouraged us to keep on going. So I'd say it is a challenge. You mentioned untapped market. I think I told prickly market. So it's work. It's hard work, but boy, the reward has been fantastic. We've got hundreds of phenomenal employees doing a great job. And I think we've got great consumers that are getting really, really comfortable being partners with us in a membership. So we're excited about that. Probably, the other learning would be an emphasis of what we knew in our gut, but you have to be reminded sometimes. Having a relationship with people to build trust and work through junk is important. And that includes a team, an organization like my team, but also with the relationships we built. So I would say maintaining those relationships and spending energy on them and just being, how to win friends, influence people, look them in the eye, be honest with them. I actually think New Jersey, that there is some truth to that. And then I will also say there's no substitute for hard work, creative solutions, and a team that works together and stays together day to day and argues and debates and figures it out so you can move fast. One of the things that the data lake did is we have a lot of data to make quick decisions. It doesn't mean we don't debate over them first, but it kept us moving quickly. And so I just got to give a shout out to my leadership team for building that foundation that allows us to do something like this. And we look forward to the next couple of years of doing the same thing.
That was a segment from the latest Car Wash Exchange. If you want to hear the full version, visit carwash.org to listen for free. While you're there, subscribe to ICA to always receive the latest stories, insights, and research from the International Car Wash Association.